Not such an auspicious start then for India's T20 refresh. A new look side chasing a target of 150, which appeared to be quite gettable, but West Indies bowlers got stuck in, they did the job, they made best use of a slowish surface, and they have prevailed by 4 runs to take what seemed like an unlikely lead in this five-match T20I series. Welcome to ESPNcricinfo T20 Timeout, joined by Wasim Jaffer to look back at the action from Taruba. Wasim, did India lose this or did West Indies win this?
I would say India have lost it. It was India's game to win. They would have fancied chasing 150 with the kind of batting, the top order that we have. So they'll be disappointed with this batting display. They probably should have, the batters should have taken the game a little bit deep, and it would have been much easy with Romario Shepherd bowling in the death. And if there were couple of decent batters, I think India would have got home with 1 over to spare if those batters had taken it deep.
So let's get stuck into the batting then, since that's where this game was decided. What did India's batters through the order, barring Tilak Varma, get wrong? And is this one of those innings which makes you feel concerned about India's approach when they play on slow, sluggish surfaces?
I mean, they should be used to it. I mean, we play in India, we play on this kind of pitches. So, and in IPL also, we do get wickets like where 140, 150 is a tough total. So it's nothing new to them. The start probably wasn't what they wanted. Couple of wickets down straight away in second, third over. Ishan Kishan's form, especially in T20 international cricket, is a little bit of worry. I was watching it, and in last 15 games, he hasn't crossed 40, and his strike rate is not impressive at all. So, I mean, that is something the management can look into. Yashasvi Jaiswal sitting, who's in such a good form, coming out, of a breakthrough IPL. So, wonder if looking at him is a good option. Uh, Other than that, I would say everybody else struggled. Even Surya Kumar Yadav run a ball 21, Hardik as well. Tilak Varma was the only one. If he had batted a little bit more, if he had got 50 plus, 60 plus, I think India would have got home. They should have just taken the game a little bit more deep. Sanju Samson's run out actually caused him. He was looking good. Uh, so I think those were the things. If India had one or two batters just batting till the 17th, 18th over, India would have got home, very easily.
You bring up that Samson run out. At that time, 113 for 6 in 15.3 overs. What also happened was Kuldeep Yadav entered at number 8. The flip side of the way India chose to balance their side for this game. With most international sides, 37 needed of the last 27, 28 balls, with 4 wickets in hand, your all-rounders at play, you would still give them a chance. But with India, once Kuldeep Yadav came out at number 8, you already felt like this game might be beyond them. Is that then a continuing cause of concern for India, not getting the balance right?
It is a very big concern. We don't have anybody, Kuldeep included, and then you get 8, 9, 10, 11 who doesn't have hitting ability or even boundary hitting ability, even though Arshdeep hit a couple of boundaries, which surprised me. Uh, but they don't have boundary six hitting ability. So that's a concern when you're playing this format. If England were playing, or Australia were playing, or even West Indies were playing, New Zealand were playing, you would back them to get those runs. 2 overs 20 with 4 wickets left. You would back them to win it. So India obviously is not strong in that department, and that's where the balance needs to be right. And obviously, you play two spinner, and then one batter doesn't play, uh, and then Aksar plays, and he doesn't finish his quota of overs. So there are a lot of things that you have to look in when you make the combination. But Kuldeep coming in at 8 is not the answer.
Right. Worth spending a minute though on the West Indian bowling, because it took a special all round effort to defend a target which was below 150. With the exception of Alzari Joseph, everyone's contributed. Akil Hussain 1 for 17 and Jason Holder on his return 2 for 19 being the standouts. What did they do and how were they so difficult to score against for the India batters?
I think, like I said, they understood that this pitch was a used one, and when they must have batted, they must have felt that it wasn't easy scoring, and this total was defendable. And taking the pace off probably was the best idea, and that's what they did. Jason Holder does really well. Romario Shepherd does that. Akil Hussain is a very good left arm spinner. Obed McCoy uses his change of pace really well. So all those bowlers, I thought, used that pace, lack of pace probably, and didn't give that pace to our batters. So which I think worked, and then obviously some pretty soft shots, I would say as well, and that Samson run out. But even then, at one stage, India needed 37 in 30 deliveries with 6 wickets in hand, and you would back India to win it. So a lot of credit to West Indian bowlers to keep fighting and pulling this game off from that moment.
Plaudits also for them with regards to how they lined up with their bowling because this was a used surface from the previous ODI. A lot of assistance for spin. You saw India, who almost never play three spinners, go in with three spinners. West Indies didn't fall for that temptation and chose that mix. What do you read into the contrasting approaches of the two bowling lineups?
Well, I think their fast bowlers actually, like we have discussed before, they play around the league, so they know the the demands of this format. Jason Holder is so good at it. Alzari Joseph, even though he was expensive today, Obed McCoy, Romario Shepherd as well. Uh, and spin is not their strength, even though we've seen Moti bowl really well in the ODI, even Karia bowled well, but they understood that they only one spinner could do this job on this pitch. This was a big outfield, and probably hitting to the fast bowlers with not much pace on is going to be more difficult. So I thought they understood the game really well. Roman Powell actually he rotated his bowlers really well. So I thought they played a very smart cricket.
And the only Indian batter on the day who could make himself counted against this West Indian bowling was the debutant. It ends in a losing cause, Wasim, but Tilak Varma caught a lot of eyes, especially with the way he started. Those first two scoring shots were sixes that would have made the man on the non-strikers end quite proud himself.
Yeah, he looked impressive. I mean, there was no nerves at all, and the way he started, just like he's playing a club game or maybe for his state team, and no pressure at all. Came out and backed his game, and that's a good thing about it. It shows that he's mentally very strong, and he was actually the only one who looked very comfortable on this pitch, and the shots that he played, not just the big shots, but even the slices through the third man and the other shots shows that he was in such a good form. He would be disappointed that he couldn't probably score 20 odd more runs or spend 3, 4, 5 overs more. Had he stayed there for a little bit longer, I think India would have got home with overs to spare.
The combination of the comfort he showed, the shot making, the intent, uh, it somehow justifies the excitement around his inclusion and could lead us to think that you'd expect the management will back him for a bit.
They should back him because you could see what this guy can offer. Fielded brilliantly, took a brilliant catch, and he's got a lot to offer. Very young, so if you could do this in such a young age, with so much cricket ahead of him, it's an exciting future for Tilak Varma, without a doubt. Not just in this format, but even the other formats, I would say.
Just going back to the West Indian innings, and not too often you get a T20 that finishes without a half century. The top scorer on the day is Robman Powell, who finishes 48 of 32, but that's after scoring 20 of his first 21 balls. His troubles against spin have been well documented, but he stuck it out and then smashed 28 of his next 10 balls before getting out. Uh, that was an innings that made the difference in the game eventually.
I think, yeah, I mean, those 48 runs actually made a lot of difference. If he had got out when he was batting at 20, India Chahal dropped a half decent chance in the cover. Had India taken that chance, probably India would have been chasing 135, 140, and that's the difference would have been. But then he carried on and, put those 15, 20 runs extra, and that was a difference. So he understood that this pitch was not easy. He needed to spend time. He took time against the spinners early on, and then once he got in, we all know, he's got power. So once he gets in, uh, then he makes big striking looks very very easy. So good to see him come into form. He's been struggling for a form. Hasn't played much in the IPL, so he had his struggles. So he'll be happy that he's captain and he's contributed.